always on the move? You can keep up to date with Ulti TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
He's in a great spot. He's in a perfect spot. Yes, his massive head has blocked everything. That was a huge play, but we have seen none of it. Finny, he's done it.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. Ultimate TV.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
our
work
work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Welcome back to Pitch 1, Wrocław being the venue of the Joint Junior Ultimate Championship. We have the women's semi-final coming up next. The USA taking on their rivals from Canada. Behind the mic today for your pleasure and entertainment is Adam Lepler and Liam Grant. Just kidding, it's Rachel Just kidding, it's Rachel Toshnerova and Kristina Obermeier. Because this is a women's final, and as these women are getting ready for one of the most important games in this tournament for them so far, we're gonna take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about how these teams got here. Kristina, can you walk us through the under-20 system? We started off in 2 pools of 6 teams.
We did. We started off in Pool A and B of 6 teams. Then we got into one power pool, then the lower pool. Both of these, no, actually not both of these teams. One of these teams undefeated so far. The US coming from the power pool, having yet to be pushed really further. Canada, on the other hand, had a very rocky start, getting 2 losses early against the Czech Republic and France as well, and fighting their way back from the lower pool to get to this semi-final.
A way for Canada to secure their chance to still get a shot in the semis. We're live at the WFDF YouTube channel where the under-20 action is happening all week this week. We have still some more games to be played. This is the last full day of broadcast. Tomorrow we will only have 2 finals left that will be played out here on the stream. So make sure to hit that subscribe button not to miss any of it, as some of your favorite teams might be featured in these hotly contested finals. First poll out of the US. Canada go through the middle. Zhang finds a continuation in the hands of Marshall, who goes backwards. Brudney, who's been an outstanding handler for this Canadian offense, but she was pretty active on defense as well. We see a first slip. The field still slightly wet from the early morning watering. Brudney cuts to the end zone, and that's a first turn.
Good red zone opportunity there for Canada, but the USA managed to get the turn and are off to the races with their first break opportunity.
Gelfand picks up. Looks for the reset, not much there, but finds an upliner. Davis on the near sideline. One more upline, high grab, feet kept in. And a pick call stops the play.
We'll send the disc back as well. US in the vertical stack setup. Clean cuts, singling out one player at a time.
Godou will keep the disc. Goes around to Russell. Russell tries to go for the wide swing and will call a foul from Brudney on the mark, saying that she has felt contact probably through the throwing motion.
Like a foot block there by Brudney. So a contested foul will send the disc back. And the US will keep possession here with Russell.
An upliner with a deep continuation into the end zone. This break chance will go in vain for the US, but Canada have to take the disc from their own end zone line. This looked like a nice gainer, and it will be. I didn't even see the receiver there. Brudney underneath. Can she run that out? It's hanging! But despite the layout, once more out of reach. It looked like a nice put for a bit. It seemed like the disc was going to stop in the wind and sort of wait for Brudney to make the run.
It did wait for a little bit, but not quite enough. And the US with a second break opportunity.
The US sort of deep in their end zone. Han miscommunicates on that open side cut, and Canada knocking on the doorstep. High release backhand into space. Brudney comes down with it. And a hold for Canada. They go up 1-0 over the US.
Arabella Brudney with the first goal for the Canadians in the end gets redeemed for this huge layout that she had before. Two USA defenders, one help defender in the area as well, but nothing really they can do, and that's 1-0 in favor of the Canadians.
So nice ultimate conditions here in Wrocław, just as they have been for the rest of the week. The only difference, usually at the 9 o'clock slot, we get basically no wind, just nice, cool temperature, lots of sun, and a lovely grass. And for now, I think, we did have some gusts of wind in that last point, one of them pushing over that deep shot from Canada. Here's the last wobble on the disc.
Oh, we could maybe call this bookends even, as Brudney was the second handler defender and gets maybe a tip on the disc. We can't really see it from this angle, but here we see she gets that point for Canada on the board. And they're off to pull. First offensive possession for the US.
Wide forehand, going sideways. Stone for the upline continuation from Hakimi. Finds Friedman, who will try to take it around with that lefty forehand. But it is a bit too far. Right picks up immediately for Canada. Looking to attack quickly. Finds the upline from Gagnon. Eloire. She's been huge for this defensive D-line offense for Canada. And I think that disc was a bit too wet.
A zippy flick bumped off the chest of the Canadian player, and an opportunity for the US to hold.
Stone puts up a big forehand into the end zone. Both players underneath, and it seems like it will be Ernest who rips it down out of the air. She has a tall frame, and she has proven deadly for Canadian defense.
Ernest featured on one of our highlights earlier this week, getting a huge layout bid. Not just one, but a few in this game. Watch out for her being a really intense matchup on defense. Cho. And a miscommunication. It has been the same story in favor of the US this point, just the same we saw last point.
Rachel Chang resets to Hakimi. Hakimi immediately strikes up line, and that lefty backhand will hold for the continuation into the end zone. Stone finally reels it in for the US. We're even at 1.
We are, and we are even at turnovers as well. Canada getting to break chances here off of the US. A bit of a messy point. But the same thing on Canada's O's side, and we are all tied up at ones. Don't trust the scoreboard here. But of course, you've been here since the beginning of the game, so you have seen all of it.
Thank you so much for engaging in the chat. We love to see you tune in for your favorite national teams and the best athletes of the youth scene in Ultimate. Just remember, this is a junior championship. Keep, ideally, any opinions about the play for yourself. We don't have any game advisors. The players need to rely solely on the perspectives on the field and on the sideline. They can come and check out the replay on the screen next to our commentary booth. But we've been trusting them all week to make the right decisions about any of the calls that might have occurred. So please try to keep the chat encouraging and positive to make sure that when these athletes do go back and re-watch, they get pure enjoyment and don't have to be worried about someone saying anything inappropriate in the chat. So we're still on serve here. Canada receives for the second time in this game. It's a nice set play. Zhang gets the disc. And that one just out of reach of Jan. Great layout attempt though.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. I love the flow the Canadians have on offense, but now the US with another break opportunity.
Beeman Weber will be working in the handler set with Hahn and Fisher Lopez. Bit of contact downfield, nothing called though. Beeman Weber unleashes, but that forehand lands on the grass.
We've seen all week that these flick blades set into space are always deemed to curve in early and hit the ground rather than a free receiver.
So that one clearly had a little bit more of a bladey look to it rather than putting it out flat. So Canada with one more chance on offense. Brodney puts up a floaty look, and it's none other than Mia Beeman Weber to redeem her turnover. She swings it wide to Hahn. As you can see, Best handlers come in all shapes and sizes, but in the meantime, interception by Canada, but they almost immediately give it back. Bit of nervousness, I think, from both of these teams. Maybe giving in to the pressure of the semis.
Maybe they're just a little tired. Still early here.
And it has been a long week as well. I think we're gonna see fatigue setting in. But Canada get the disc once more. Lee, always the fans' favorite in the chat, puts up a ripper of a forehand. It's hanging. And Han gets excellent position to prevent that easy reception.
Good matchup between the two players there, Han and Zhang.
US keeping possession, Han in the middle. I think she tried to go through the break side there. Still no timeouts, no wasting time. Cheer gets open, but a foul called on the mark. Seems like it will be accepted.
There's a lot of contact there, but Zhang holds onto the disc. Cheer, rather.
Canada stuck on options a little bit. They have to take it back to the middle, but no continuation for the swing. This looked like it was going to be a nice gainer, but again, a bit too high for Marshall.
We saw many people asking for the disc, loads of traffic around it, whereas Canada had a very good structure in the beginning. They've kind of lost it. Now the US again with the disc in their possession.
Now that's a lovely break side put into Gillach. And a lefty forehand into the end zone. Again, has a bit too much blade on it. Let's see that one more time. Yeah, it was Jan who got there on time to make sure that disc gets smacked to the ground.
Good recognition by Chan, and this is really turning out to be a super long point.
Good grab by Marshall. She decides against the deep option, has Brudney. Brudney unleashes. Acres of space for the reception, but last second touch by Beeman Weber. She spreads out wide, but an injury call.
Cheer landing very hard there, going for the second attempt. And I'm not sure I like this option because she was already very deep and the defender was just baiting that a little bit. Mia Beeman Weber, a tall frame, maybe definitely has a few centimeters on her matchup.
I actually like that look because I think you do have to take some courageous options going downwind, and Brudney is surely the thrower to make that pass anytime, but I think she just was trying to make sure that the receiver has enough time to realize that it's going, and that's why she holstered it a tiny bit and didn't put as much power to sort of slice it straight into the end zone. You can see the Canadian contingent showing up for this early game.
No foul whatsoever. Nothing called. I don't think there was any body contact either. It's just that she really hit the ground hard on that second attempt.
So like we said, Canada having the more difficult path to this semifinal. They had to fight their way from the so-called lower power pool, but they do so in style. They earn their spot in these semis. And as Christina pointed out, so far US undefeated. In the other semifinal will feature France against Italy. France securing their spot early, winning the second place in the upper power pool.
And then Italy had to fight their way back in as well. a nail biter against the Czech side that have been so heroic in the start of the week. Cannot quite come down against the Italian pressure and emotion. Disc will be checked back in favor of the US.
Good switching on the handlers, but US find a continuation downfield. That was a great deep shot. And an up line for Smith. Another slip on the wet grass. One more chance for Canada. They stay alive in what's once started as an offensive point for them. Seems like they're starting to, they were trying to put together a side stack with maybe one person isolated on the other side. But one more turnover. Close to the US end zone.
It seems like those two teams really not giving each other any option.
They look very evenly matched up in this game so far, but we have seen it time and time again that the US tend to be very strong with their depth and use it well and kind of run away with some games later on. We'll see if that's the case here or if Canada's still ready to put up a fight. Hahn finds Beeman Weber on the further sideline. They center to her once more. The US now nearing the last third of the field. They swing it wide. Gillach to Hahn. Sideways to Beeman Weber. Time for an end zone play. Hahn with the upline cut. She has the continuation. She reels it in, and that's a first break for the United States. They will go up 2-1 over Canada.
Harper Bear with the grab in the end zone, and that was just a beautiful piece of offense from the US side. Great flow, and after such a long point, being able to walk that disc down the field like that was just a beautiful piece of offense. The teams are huddling up in the middle of the field. Looks like there's a timeout called.
I think this is exactly what the US were looking for. Just break early and then steadily start adding on throughout the game. And Canada definitely not in the mood to allow that, I should say. Some of you are asking what time it is in Poland. It is 9 o'clock in the morning.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. Ultimate.tv.
We are coming back after the first timeout in this women's under-20 semifinal. United States just broke Canada for the first time, going up 2-0, but we're already 20 minutes into this game, and that last point, Christina, that was a long one.
It really was a million turns. At least it felt like it. But the US coming out of this victorious. Canada will try and stop the bleeding. I do believe they took the time out. And it's also just 3 points scored so far, so nothing
Major.
Nothing lost. Every chance to still get back into this game. Well, don't even think they're out of the game yet. And Canada have been fighting so hard to stay alive in this tournament, get this semi-final opportunity.
If you're tuning in a little later to this excellent matchup between the North American teams. You might be interested to know that the weather conditions are practically perfect here in Wrocław. The grass is still holding up really well. The sun is shining, the sky is clear. It's about 9:20 in the morning. And as opposed to the other days where the 9 o'clock slot hasn't seen much wind, practically any, this time around we're already getting the first gusts of wind entering the pitch. And we'll see if they will complicate things for the teams or not. Pull goes up for Canada. And a call.
And there's a strip call. Lee saying she had possession of that disc, and we'll see a replay right here. Grace Wong.
Seems like the players will agree regardless of whether they get a look on the replay or not. And it seems they will just return to their original positions and the disc will stay with Zhang. Again, Christina, you were saying this before, lots of traffic around the disc. Good defensive poaching by the US in the open side. Startling Canada, that's a high put and great awareness. Ernest comes down with it. She has some good reading skills. Cheer on the sideline continues to Ernest. She's now looking for the reset, almost a hand block. Brudney goes for the scooper.
But that's a hand block.
This time around, the hand block works for the US. Second chance for the US to go to add another break.
Daring stuff by the Canadian side pays off for the US.
Magnan attacks the disc, sporting that red piece of clothing around her neck to make her that much more recognizable on the field. Big forehand put in the end zone for her, but that one sails out of bounds.
Well, it did come back in the back of the end zone, but it was always super zippy. Tried to end that quickly was the US, giving the disc back to Canada.
Here's the US sideline. Zhang walking slowly to the front of the end zone and immediately puts up a forehand hack, knowing that the US will be poaching off the undercuts. A foul call on the catch.
Immediately uncontested, knowing that Ernest had position and maybe tipped her off the hands a little bit. Great play from both players. Canada now at midfield.
Cheer tries to reset, but again, a bit of traffic. She has to go up line. Brudney pointing to the open spaces where she would like to put the disc. She finds Ernest. Continues for the up line. That was a lovely piece of flow. They continue into the end zone. Not the intended receiver potentially, but that's a score for Canada.
Well, I think it was the intended receiver. What do you mean? It's floating perfectly to the back of the end zone. There's two Canadian receivers there, and one of them gets it. That's all you want. All you need as well.
So Canada keeping the game tight. We're tied at 2. US one break up over their neighbors.
Yeah, loads of traffic there, as we said. The Canadian offense here, slicing it through to Ernest. Brudney sees two people striking. I would actually say it was Cheer was the intended target there. because she was starting from a very good position, and if I'm running that way, I see the person also running and putting it up to them, that there is another person around there. It really makes it even more difficult, but that shot perfectly into the hands of Brooklyn Cheer, who is out of Ottawa, plays for Wicked West, has been playing for them since 2018, and her player's experience is 6 years of playing Ultimate.
Now this is a nice put from the Canadians, but the US wastes no time, center, and find that under. Big forehand, these forehand throws proving a little difficult when the team is going from left to right of your screen. We've been having quite a few overthrows on those upline cuts, and a chance for Canada to break, I think maybe for the first time in this game. Zito Fung secures the disc in her hands, but that one overthrown and intercepted by Rachel Chang, who continues to stone. Schwartz now has 2 resets and has no choice but to put it deep. But luckily for her, Hakimi, the youngest player on this team, gets there on time. And that was a good fight in the end zone for that disc. Canadian defender, though, gets the better of it.
Even trying for the second attempt there, but just can't really get that hands around the disc. Canada gets it back here, but have to work all the way down the field.
Marshall. I don't want to say straight into the poach because the poach was quick to recognize that throw. Rachel Chang tries to go over the top, but good read by Canada. They get the disc once more. Oh, and that high grab just off the fingers.
And even though we're 30 minutes in, it looks like those game starting shaky moments have not been erased by either team.
Rachel Chang sets up in the handler space, but they will go in front of the end zone to Friedman, who reels it in for the US. Offensive hold, they go up 3-2.
US getting the better of Canada, this time holding their offensive possession. But that was really messy from both sides. I want to shout out for a second. This one play I watched during this point where Abby Gillett had the disc in her hand, looked for an option, couldn't find anything, and that at stall 8 probably, she put up this beautiful flick huck, not into the ground or into the sky, but perfectly into space for a receiver. I thought it was Hakimi to run it down with yards.
So we've seen this in some of the later games in the under-20 division when we saw the teams who were really close to each other performance-wise match up, that pretty late into the game, the scoreboard is still showing only a few points. And I would have actually awarded that to the fact that a lot of these teams have been playing zones, making the points generally slower. But we haven't seen a proper zone look, despite those occasional few poaches from the US, and maybe Canada tried some too, out of any of the teams so far.
Oh, there we go.
And still, of course, as I say that, US try it and bring it in for the first time, but still, despite the match D, the points have been taken longer than usual.
It looks rather like a poach. He said then the handler said then an actual zone. So many bodies underneath it, but Sang collects it high.
She rips it out of the air. Cheer now on the sideline. Centers back to her. And they continue through right to Brudney. Now that is a great put through the first cup of the Americans by Brudney. Really opening up the game. Another one over the top. They're being very comfortable with this US zone look, forcing them to transition. Zhang continues for the up line, covered nicely by the mark. Brudney thinks about the inside channel. Zhang signaling the way she would like her downfield offense to set up. Brudney steps out wide, right. Finds Ernest just on the end zone line. These are some big pivots out of these Canadian women.
And loads of traffic. The disc finds the 3 receivers, but also just the ground, as none of the 3 can really hold on to that disc. And the US are going the other way.
Another break chance for them. Beeman Weber goes sideways, but a pick call might have to give the disc back to her.
Here, calls from the sideline. Be patient, offense, patience. Because every single time they get that disc back, it's valuable. It's a valuable possession.
A deep shot out of reach for the US, but nonetheless a great look, knowing that Canada have to work against this wind, giving them a full field to go once more. Technically a reset or a replay of this entire point so far. Zhang examines the field, finds the hole behind the first and second cup. Alicia Zhang goes to Tiffany Zhang, and Brudney collects. Good communication among the Canadian players. You hear them really calling when they're open and sort of pointing to spaces.
As you said, especially this Canadian team has worked hard and fought hard against some zone looks by the European teams they've met this week.
Brudney threw the first cup to Alicia Zhang. And once more the US switching to match D. Jan back to Zhang. Zhang through the middle for the score. Ernest once more brings it in for Canada. We're tied at 3.
Beautiful work by the Canadian offense there. As I just mentioned before, they have faced some poachy looks, some zone looks this week. We've also seen them on the stream battle them, and I think I can really see an improvement on their side, especially in the handler set, whereas they used to do very small passes that wouldn't give them anything at all. They now came back to swinging it wide around, trusting their throws and moving the disc from one side of the field to the other quickly.
So still a tight game, love to see it. These two teams have met each other previously in this tournament. And that was earlier. I'm gonna have the result for you. I know it wasn't close. Canada has not played the US before in this tournament. Must have been on the men's side yesterday, never mind me. All the US players raising their arm up in preparation. And Canada, with their poachy look, we know they like to do it for the first couple of passes before they transition to match D, which they have been forced to do quite quickly as the US approaches the second half of the field. Hakimi winds up Big backhand to the back of the end zone. What a grab! Caroline Stone with the score for the US and potentially the first clean offensive hold of this game.
I do believe that was the first time any team has managed to get a goal without a turn forced by the other side. That was beautiful offense there from the US. You know, I know the US has not really faced any adversity. They are very much undefeated right now. But watching this game here, it looks like due to the similar style of play the Canadians and the US are showing here, it seems like Canada really is pushing them and pressuring them. They can run with them, and they have forced rather many turns out of that young US side early. I'm really intrigued to see whether Canada can keep that pressure high and keep it on, or if the US clean up their offense and defensive pressure and get break after break as we have seen them get throughout the week.
Ladies, just a bit careful. Canada also ready for the pull.
Everyone's ready.
Right picks up, and that was a wobbly throw to start with. So difficult for Le Chasseur to bring down. And that's a short field for the US. Gelfand to Bear. Hahn steps out for the forehand. They will take the up line. Hahn collects another break for US.
I think I might have jinxed the outcome of this game a little bit with my assessment.
That is very unfortunate for the Canadians. That is definitely not what they have drawn up. That was potentially an unforced error on that turnover.
But a costly one.
A very, very costly one.
See that again, the defender slips here. And Hahn working every other in the handler set, gets that goal as well.
Look
Low
at that
collection.
speed on the up line. I love the way that she kind of stops mid of the cut and then takes off again. And then the low grab sort of a little bit behind her. Here is the American contingent. The Pride jerseys also making an appearance on the sideline.
What do you think about the US kit this year?
Very, very controversial indeed.
Controversial? Oh, I quite like it. I'd actually really love it. No, pair of that shorts.
I think it's a love it or hate it
Is it?
relationship.
I always love the shorts they're wearing. 100% love them. And then for the shirts, I like the dark. I don't know if I'm a fan of the white, gotta say.
In
But
any
you know,
case, they are the same jerseys as the World Games team was wearing.
They are, but on the other hand, what I wanted to say, they're also super valuable at trade nights.
No wonder. I think all the European players are super excited to meet these international teams because you don't get to play exotic teams too often. So the more that you get a chance to do it, the better. Here's Canada. Ooh, great poachy look. Brudney, big forehand into the end zone. Lots of players underneath, and it is Canada who keep their position steady. Alicia Zhang for the score. It was a bit shaky, but brought down expertly.
I didn't see a shaky anything. No, of course, you're right, Rachel. She got there, and she got there first, but many players underneath that disc. Zhang just showing her worth.
That was Gelfand almost getting a hand on that open side, and this put from Brudney, we've seen another one. I think she still is not putting full power onto them, sort of second guessing if she can put something that could technically be called risky, in a sense that
I would like
it needs to be placed perfectly.
I do have to say I would like to see her put it early, because we've seen some of that amazing speed on the side of the Canadians, whereas if you put it up high and late, you always give everyone else just a bit more of a chance. And we saw there 3 Canadian receivers, but also 3 US defenders in the space around the disc. It was just not worth it in this situation to lose a disc that way.
Very, very loud sideline. We have stands ready across the pitch at field 1.
Games will not be played there anymore, quite obviously, since the stands are blocking the middle of the field. Everywhere else around the venue, there are still games happening for today. As Canada is back in their poach look.
Chang goes to Hakimi. Friedman on the far sideline. Centers to Hakimi. Brown with a gainer. Again, looks for the reset. That was a nice lefty throw. What a break side shot. And a continuation into the end zone. Score for the US. That was Stone with the assist, and I believe Maroon with the score, or else the other way around. Doesn't matter. The most important part of that play was Hakimi's breakside backhand. What a throw that was, Christina.
She has been one of the standout handlers. Also, as you've mentioned before, the youngest player on that team. Spotting the number 1 shirt. See that beautiful backhand, just waited, put into position for her receiver, and then that's just a quick high release pop into the end zone. So the US sitting at a 2-point lead comfortably.
I wonder if we're going to make it to time half here. That would be at 55 minutes out of the 100 of regulation time for these under 20 games. Or else, if one of the teams reaches 8 points before that. Pull lands in bounds for Brudney, who gets slow to find Zhang in the center. Continues to Ernest.
Ernest with the bobble throw, but that's an uncontested foul as her hand was prevented from releasing that disc without any interception.
A violation call. Disc tapped back into play a bit too quickly. Let's see if Ernest will try for that high release backhand one more time over the shoulder of her tall mark, Beeman Weber. Not being the easiest person to throw over.
Apparently she's 6'2", whatever that is in a metric system, a normal system.
A lot. Ernest gets to squeeze down the sideline. Canada now in the red zone. And that's a score, no call. They just raised their hands in celebration. Millie Wright with the score for Canada.
Millie Wright going up to line, a player out of Winnipeg. She just graduated high school and is attending University of Manitoba in the fall. We should look out for quick handle movement, inside break throws, and forehand hooks. Also scoring points, apparently. Her father is also her coach, Dean Wright. And he is her sporting hero, because his coaching has helped me improve greatly over the years and got me to where I am today. Good for you. Your dad got you into the semi-final of the World Championship.
Canada receiving instructions. They're still trailing 2 breaks in this first half, and they're gonna have to try to steal at least one of them back, still in the first part of the game, not to let the US jump off by 3, as they will be starting out on offense in the second half.
This is about midfield, not midfield, of course, around the break mark here.
A collision between the players and an immediately accepted foul call.
Loads of energy from both sides. Pushed in the wrong way, released the wrong way a little bit, that energy, but the US quickly shoot it deep. And I've seen many deep shots come up from the US side. I have not seen a single one connect unless it was a bailout.
Marshall picks up for Canada. Winding up. A collection in front of the end zone. They continue through the break side, but no, lost once more.
What a great grab by Ulwa. Trailing edge, keeping her hands around it, but this just now in the hands of the US again.
Friedman didn't like the deep look. And this time Chang puts up a ripper into the end zone. Defender misreads it, and that's a score. Maggie Brown takes the US up 7-5 over Canada. Brown coming out of Seattle, Washington.
Quite the pot for a good frisbee, Seattle. Having some different junior programs. Her sporting hero is Jack Verjou. They were coached by him in camps and clinics growing up, and helped coach my high school,
her high school team.
Their high school team this season. Inspiring player, amazing coach, great person on and off the field.
Let's hope Jack is tuning in for the streaming as well, to see how much inspiration he has brought to these young women.
See a replay once again. I bet they just wanted to prove me wrong. As I said, they haven't really
been connecting on the deep shots yet.
No again. Well done for you. And they're snacking around.
United States 1 point away from taking the half. Canada still with a chance to stay alive. Gelfand with the pull for the US. She takes quite a bit of steps to put that roller up. And it looks like Canada will take it from the sideline there. We could see the dust rising, the white dust swirling in the air, proving that the disc hit the sideline. Millie Wright finds the break side up line for Cheer. Cheer, floaty put. Somebody gets in the way.
A stall out is called, but going to be retracted as the disc goes to the US anyway.
Davis on the near sideline puts one up. Gelfand doesn't go in the end zone just yet. Instead, swings to Hahn. Hahn, big put, wobble on the layout. Canada immediately put it into Alicia Zhang, who's got another player striking deep, but instead goes backwards. Canada being patient with the disc here. They know they don't want the US to take the half just yet. Ernest backwards to right. Brodney a little bit behind Jen, but Jen keeps possession. Cheer to Jen. Jen finds right with the leading pass. Brodney in front of the end zone. And that disc will be called down.
Ernest in front here, getting the layout, but this time cannot quite wrap both her hands around the disc. And to pick up for the US side.
Hahn through the open side to Birdsong, who gives the disc back to her. Gadu. Hahn going every other here. US with a chance to take the half. Bear. Hahn for the up line. Continues into the end zone. Open receiver there, and that is halftime for the United States. They go up 8-5 over Canada.
Birdsong with the grab here. Sister of Stan Birdsong, who is a rather well-known player in the US. Good sibling connection there.
But Hahn really being the start of that last defensive O-look by the US. She went every other, got the disc twice for the reset in the middle, then recognizing that her teammate is a lefty and will have that nice around backhand for the up line. And here's a sequence of her assists. She's had a few in this game already, helping the D-line make sure the brinks keep coming for the US. 8-5, we have about 7 minutes of a break, so we will leave you with some highlights and a word from our sponsors. Checking out for now.
Bichon picks up, and they've got a short field. They've got another goal. It's tied up at 12. I cannot believe what I'm seeing
Can
here.
Lola Dam chase that one down? That is a score for Harslinger Elferkel. Fantastic run by Julia Lutz.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge.
And we believe that that requires knocking down the paywall.
We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch, and we want them to go viral.
When you become a member, you enable us to improve our working relationships with tournament organisers, events and federations.
And you'll help us to produce live stories for Ultimate fans, and to generate new fans with our enhanced content.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts, and we want to bring you coverage on a more consistent basis. We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Ciao ragazzi, support the community.
Let's subscribe Ulti TV. There's lots of the videos, posting, everything. Check it out. Please, they are the best one. Woo!
If you want to grow Ultimate Sports, become a member of Ulti TV.
Regardez Ulti TV.
Deviens un membre d'Ulti TV et fais grandir ta communauté.
Stop Ulti TV بالمه eroginkime Ultimate Vandromene. Si quieres ayudar a Ulti TV, puedes ser miembro de Ulti TV.
Everyone, follow Ulti.tv on Instagram, on YouTube. They've got everything.
Best content.
Like their pictures if you love frisbee. Just do it.
We're counting on you.
Bli medlem på Ulti TV.
Became member
of Ulti TV.
Mamma mia.
Contribue au développement d'Ultimate avec Ulti TV.
Like and subscribe. Ulti TV, the best in the world.
We want to grow Ultimate.
we want to grow Ultimate. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We have our signature style 2-camera setup,
With thousands of hours of experience,
and our crew is globally dispersed to facilitate coverage everywhere around the world. We can also scale back our broadcast with just one elevated camera, or scale up with 2 fields, 2 cameras, and 2 commentators on each.
we work with local teams and we all have the same mission, to grow the sport and bring it to new people by providing live coverage and new stories.
Become a member today on our Patreon page.
And fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories, ideas and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with Ulti TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Right now,
he's gonna have to bid. Just a football.
Huge layout block. Unbelievable stuff on the front corner of the end zone.
Maybe just that boost of energy they needed.
Huge swing pass and a great grab there from Steer.
Welcome back to the second half of action. The women's under-20 semifinal is underway on field number 1 at Pola Marsowe, Wrocław, Poland. The US have really taken the last part of first half by surprise, scoring several breaks. They go up 8-5 over Canada, and now they're starting on offense. Stone on the far sideline. Centers to Rachel Chang. Chang winds up, but I'm not sure who she was aiming for there.
Maybe that just caught by the wind a little bit as it's gusty now.
Eloire picks up. Upline to Cho. Continuation for Marshall. Still one more upline.
Another one.
Eloire now will be surely looking to reset, and she does.
Inside put just in front of the end zone, puts up a big one, and that's a break for Canada.
They start the second half strong, making sure the fans at home are not disappointed. The Canadian contingent on the sideline going wild. Just what we needed if we want to have a tight semifinal. 8-6 currently the score. We're entering the 64th minute of the game, so just a little over 36 minutes still to play for regulation time. We haven't seen too many quick points, Christina, in the first half.
No, we really haven't. This probably being one of the quickest ones. Some clean holds by the US, but loads of pressure from both sides, and I attest that to the very similar style of play both teams have shown us so far. They work a lot over their speed. Their disc skills also showcase, but not quite as great, maybe due to the wind conditions, the weather around the pitches, as it's windy but rather gusty, so not stable, and you can't really adjust to it just yet.
We've talked about the tightness of this under-20 women's divisions. We've seen upsets going one way or the other. US being maybe the only team undefeated so far in the women's division. They squeezed that one in to Stone. Chang now through the open side. Friedman thinks about that lefty. Hakimi, the youngest one, gets the disc on the near sideline once more. Her pivots are just incredible. Chang in front of the end zone, they rip it down. Caroline Stone once more with the score for the US. They keep their 3-point lead.
I love that high release put from the US. They're just popping it over the top. I've seen that look 2 or 3 times in this first half as well. It didn't connect as good, didn't work out yet, but now they've found their rhythm, found their flow, and those are some very clean offensive possessions from both sides we're seeing here.
Hakimi activates the resets, find the upline from Chang, and Chang just pops that over the face guarding defender. Good flow.
See some Canadian sideline work.
So if you're surprised to not see any of the American, Canadian, or international teams in general in the under-17 division, it is because the under-17 division is competing in the so-called EYUC, the European Youth Ultimate Championship, which is the second part of this joint junior ultimate championship. The under-20s competing in the World Junior Ultimate Championship, WJUC. Lots of abbreviations this week for us to twist the tongue on.
We've done our best to not mix it up at all.
Canada received the pole about halfway through the pitch. Brudney gets the first pass, gets slow, but takes the reset at the end. Alicia Zhang finds Jan. Jan winds up, says not now, but next time. Brudney on the far sideline.
Looks like the US are coming out in a forced middle kind of thing.
I would guess so by the instructions that they're receiving from their very loud sideline. Tiffany Zhang keeps the disc in the middle, will be tapped back in. That's a nice gainer to Ernest. She's been very aggressive with her cuts. Very eager to put some stats to her name in the end zone. A pick call stops the play. I think the stall count will have to be brought down by several seconds.
Discussion on the call still up. Not sure what's happening here, but players are finding their rightful positions.
Canada knocking on the doorstep. She puts it in for Brudney, but that one once more too bladey.
Looks like a miscommunication there.
Yeah, I
Huge bid, but just can't come up with it.
Again, Zhang was trying to use that face mark. They get it again. Put up a floaty putt into the end zone. U.S. defenders both come down with it, but a call.
Yeah, Brudney had position there, looks like, but two U.S. defenders colliding with her. And they're going to talk about this. See the replay here once again. It does look like a bit of a collision, and that it's hard to say. It's hard to tell. Disc will go back to Zhang one more time. And now they punch it in. Ernest with the score for Canada, closing the gap a little bit. The score is 7-9.
Ernest really doing a big chunk of work for this Canadian team. Like I said, she's been very aggressive with her cuts, just completely unbothered by whatever defender they put on her. She just does her thing, and she'll be the one to add another one to the Canadian scoreboard.
Yeah.
7-9 currently the score.
Ernest really not stifled by any of the physicality from her defenders either. Hasn't been playing for all that long, actually. Only 2 years. Now Canada ready to pull, trying to close the gap a little more, get another break on the board. But I think as we get to the business end of this game, the US will stop that from happening even more than they have.
Hakimi centers immediately to Chang. We finally find Maroon in the middle of the pitch. Reset to Hakimi. The discipline of these handlers is noteworthy, to say the least. Chang in a wide stance. Goes still backwards to Hakimi.
Big poach, but that's a goal for the US.
Caroline Stone this time on the assisting side of things. And despite the defensive pressure on match D by Canada. The US hold clean, going up 10-7.
I love the poach look from the Canadian defender, trying to jump high and get that hand around the disc, but that just won't work. And the US hold their lead 7-10. The US have prepared quite intensely. They had 2 tryouts and 2 different parts of this rather large country. After the tryout process, they met again in June, and then they had a preparation camp, sort of, for 5 days
in Chicago.
Before coming here to play this event together.
And you can hear the US sideline trying to keep the energy up in the background of our mics as they put up another pull. This one will land out of bounds and has actually left the field kind of early, so it'll be interesting to see whether Canada take it to the brick mark.
They have already chosen to take the brick, which I think is a good option given the wind conditions and the tough marks set up by the US side.
Canada faced with the US zone, forced to take a bit more passes. High release over the top. Great save by Alicia Zhang. Tiffany Zhang keeps her toes in. Fakes the big continuation, but nothing really there for her. She doesn't want to go backwards, knowing that losing the yards, Canada not really having time for that. Right, swings to Brudney. Keep going sideways to cheer.
Grabbing that disc behind the back.
Zhang for a little pup to Brudney. Canada nearing the end zone now. Zhang navigating the traffic. Brudney through the first cup. Here they get a good flow. Quick give and go. Continuation into the end zone. Knocked down on the last pass by the American defender. See that nice flow, but that last throw a little bit behind.
Yeah, that flow beautiful, and the cut was actually perfectly timed. Just rather than putting it up to the space, they wanted to put it into the receiver, which gives the defender a chance to mack it down, and that's another break chance for the US.
A foul call immediately accepted somewhere downfield. Watch this Beeman-Weber matchup with Ernest. Both players knowing how to find their way around the field. So fun to watch them. They're just waiting for that check-in.
Little dance move, shimmying around.
Tiptoeing. Through the break side. Second effort, Brudney says no. Intercepts that disc. Zhang open downfield. Continuation not there, however. Brudney is going to try to get free, and it will be Ernest with the score. Like I said, her decisiveness has been absolutely dreadful for the US team and absolutely delightful for the Canadians. What a score by Canada.
Another throw that is behind the receiver, and she has to turn her body to get that. It was a good shot, don't get me wrong, the goal was great, but the structure and the throwing near the end zone just really lacks precision for the Canadian side, and I'm really sad to see that they have to push so hard, and they're actually making it so hard for themselves to get those goals in. On the other hand, I like a bit of spice in every Frisbee game. And that's what we're seeing here. Brittany on the replay with a low throw to Zhang, and then looking end zone, but can't quite connect. Ernest faking out her receivers, and then with a two-handed grab behind her momentum, gets that disc into the end zone for Canada. And Canada with a big pull to the US side. This will land perfectly on this near side of the pitch.
Hakimi immediately finds Friedman on the near sideline. This one is a floaty one, but great job by Stone to keep her eyes on the disc. She brings that down. Chloe Hakimi, the youngest one for this under-20 US women's teams. Chang, nothing downfield, takes the reset. Lots of pressure from Cho. But the US unshaken so far. Friedman centers. Continuation for that up line. Both players lay out.
Tiny bit of commentator's curse as Ernest is off to the races and Canada already at their brick mark.
An injury will be called. I think that layout left Leah Schwartz with a hurt hand, it might look like, or maybe she just got a hit to the chest.
Unfortunate, and I hope she is okay. She will take an injury substitution, and so will Canada. Getting Zhang on the field.
Now the players will try to figure out how much of the play has been affected after that call. It's unclear when exactly it was made.
So I think the call was made rather immediate. Those two players had stopped playing as both of them were lying on the ground, but Ernest will stay with the disc and the violation called as the disc was checked in before the players really got notice of it.
And we're seeing a few little laughs from both sides. Love to see that, even so late in the tournament. Even with so much at stake, these players still get enjoyment out of the matches, which is probably the most important thing, not just at these junior tournaments. Ernest goes backwards, dumb pass! Hakimi gets high, but a foul called. I think that's Marshall.
Emily Marshall will keep possession of that disc. It was a hospital pass, but works for the Canadian side, and they get a good field position now in the middle.
Eloire points to the open side, but that one too far for Cho.
A nail biter we got here. This point super contested.
That could have been a great chance for Canada to add another break, but instead, oh, Hakimi stuck on options this time on that far sideline. Needs to put up a big backhand to no one. Probably the best option in that situation. She really didn't have any options whatsoever. Here's that contested catch from Canada. Ernest.
High grab by Zhang.
So much pressure once more. Russell with the defense for the US. A little bit of huck and D worked out quite well in favor of the Americans. Brudney almost gets in the way of that pass, but collected. Stone in front of the end zone. She's had a few assists and few goals to her name already in this game. Slip on the reception by Friedman. We know that Hakimi loves to step around. Defense by Brudney. Canada with one more chance to get the most needed break in the second half. We have less than 20 minutes of game time. Zhang puts it up. These are so hard. Ernest saves the day. Marshall was streaking deep.
Thought that disc was for her, but in fact, maybe she wanted to hit Ernest rather.
Zhang reads that right, but a stall-out call by Caroline Stone.
Players are going to discuss it on the field. Ernest did hold the disc for quite a long time, I want to say.
Luckily for you, you'll have a chance to replay this video as many times as you want. They're staying on demand on the WFDF YouTube channel.
You want me to count the seconds to find out whether it was a stall out?
I always try to do that with the help of the YouTube timer, but I still think sometimes it can be inaccurate. So it looks like a contested stall out as we find the disc back in the hands of Emma Ernest. Still not sure where the accent should be lying, where the emphasis should be made. Forgive us, Emma. Great job out there. She puts up a big floaty thing into the end zone. Hakimi knocks it down. What a long, hotly contested point. US on that far sideline, looking for the reset. She gets low for the inside shot to Friedman. Rachel Chang bumps into her mark. Emily Marshall falls to the ground.
Loads of traffic there, close.
I think Marshall's gonna call a foul there, but we can't tell you who it was that was calling it. And as you're engaging in the YouTube chat, I'm just going to remind you quickly that we would like to leave the decision about the calls on the pitch to the players, so please keep the opinions to yourselves. Chang. Big backhand. It's floating. Better position by the receiver and a quick continuation into the end zone. They reel it in once more. There were several turnovers in this point, but Chloe Hakimi finally brings that one in for the US.
And I believe that's a hold.
That is indeed a US hold. Another one out of Seattle is Chloe Hakimi. She's been playing for 7 or 8 years already. She's still in high school though. Should look out for her backhand hucks and handler movement. 100% what she's been giving us and feeding us all week. Her sporting hero is Kelly Johnson, one of her coaches for the high school team, who consistently pushes her to become a better player.
You know, Rachel, I'm always like, oh, the US, they are so much better. How can we own up to them? What can we change? And then I hear about Jack Verjou coaching at a high school, Kelly Johnson coaching the high school. Well, of course they're going to be great players if they're direct role models. Their coaches are such incredible players that are role models for people all over the world, but actually learning from them directly, just a privilege that maybe those players don't even appreciate as much as they might, in my opinion, should. But that might just be my Frisbee nerd talking.
In any case, Chloe Hakimi also has a twin sister who's an amazing person and an ultimate player, so shout out to her. And another fun, interesting fact about Chloe is that she has a 2nd-degree black belt in karate that she's been doing for 10 years.
Wow. That's impressive. Roller pole stopped by the Canadian side.
Canadians still trailing by 3 to this US team in blue. Tiffany Zhang examining downfield. And it will be a stall out called, it seems like.
There's a discussion on the field as well about it. Maybe there's another call?
Somewhere else, I agree. It looked like Zhang stopped before that stall out was called.
For a pick?
By Bear.
And it's at a maximum, not a maximum, it comes in on 6. Ernest with the grab here near us.
It's another high put to the reset area by Ernest. Jan now finds the continuation up line from Cheer. Cheers fakes the big backhand, but we haven't seen her taking too many big shots in this game so far. Brodny on the other side would be the one to watch out for. She continues down the line. Zhang was kind of free in the break side area. Ernest struggling with the resets. Oh, and she puts up a courageous one into the end zone. Lots of players underneath. And I don't know how Brodny was able to get there from the handling space so quickly, but somehow she'll be the one to score.
I don't know how she got there, but I know how she got that disc. Because, you know, you see the players huddling underneath and they're waiting for the disc to come down, waiting. But when you're outside, jumping in and skying the lot from outside, you're coming from a much better position. You can see the disc from a better angle, and if you know you have those 2 quick steps and high jumps, like we know Brodny does, this is a great opportunity for her to make sure that disc ends up in her hands for another goal. Look at that. Beautiful. And it looks like a timeout called by the teams, and as they are taking a breather, so are we, and we'll be back with you in a second.
Meistering immediately launches it deep, got the shot down. No! Don't you dare do this! Finny!
Oh my God!
Who let you move to Europe? This is disgraceful behaviour. I didn't realise you had to check doppelganger. Don't you look at the camera like you know what you did.
The receiver had no chance to actually check his feet. Seems like everyone will agree.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, UltiTV, the best in the world.
Become a member and fund our work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Back after a timeout, the U.S. back on offense in this under-20 women's semifinal. United States currently leading 11-9 over Canada. Here they are forced to put up a cheeky shot. I think a stall out will be called by the Canadian defender. We've had a few in this game already. So far, none of them accepted. All have been kept with the original thrower. We've talked loads about Chloe Hakimi after the last point. Here she is once more with the disc. Continues to Grace Maroon. Rachel Chang has been solid in the handling space for Canada. Continuation into the end zone through the break side. Chloe Hakimi, second score for her in this game, keeping United States in the 3-point lead.
It was beautiful flow from the US side, moving the disc laterally rather than trying to squeeze something in that maybe wasn't quite there. Oh, that's a bit of a squeeze, but I'll take that. Good continuation from Hakimi.
It was Chang who got that first step around opener for Maroon, who then continued on with the assist to Hakimi. So a very, very even game. We've talked about Canada having some hard times in the early stages of the tournament, losing on Universe to the Czechs, and then trailing by 2 or 3 behind France, 2, sorry. Don't want to make it sound worse than it was.
After those 2 games, I talked to one of the Canadian coaches, and they told me that they knew they weren't playing their best. They maybe underestimated their opponents a little bit, but coming now and going into the future, going into the business end of this tournament, the team won't be the same. The team will fight, and the team knows what they have to do to win those tight games and come out on top. And they definitely shown us that.
Well, it's great to see a young team like this pick up their mental toughness, focus on what is important, really bring all their strength, energy, and good performance into the games that matter. And Canada has done it so far, earning a ticket into the semis against the US. Props to the US as well, holding up nicely in this, so far the tightest matchup for them. Here they are with a D.
Gillage with the smackdown, or Smith rather.
Emma Smith, yeah, sporting the 2 braids. We've seen longer ones on the stream, but maybe not as shiny. They go through the break side to Han.
Shimmy there for Han, and a big gainer just in front of the end zone now.
Up line from Cohen, and that's a first score in this game for her. The 2 blondes embrace each other in a hug, because that is a break for the United States. They add another one to the board.
Another one. Quoting my Latvian friend, Dietzes Mulder is there.
I think that wind up for that backhand might have been just a little too long, and the defender recognized that that was the shot that was going to be going up. Look at Han, so composed.
An up the line option like this from the Canadian side has to thrown out early and into space. And in my personal Frisbee nerd opinion, after you go up the line twice, you want to switch to the middle, at least the middle, if not the other sideline, the other side of the pitch. Because those throws are getting tougher and tougher the further you run it down the sideline, and the open side is easier to defend. The break space gets bigger. You know, all these things that you get told when you start playing Ultimate and learn about spacing.
Back to basics. The wind really picking up as the US find themselves within 2 of securing a place in the World Junior Ultimate Championship final. Canada, however, will be going downwind in this next point.
Great pole that rolls and lands on the side.
We've seen that from the US previously, kind of forcing Canada to that far sideline for that pull. Zhang, big forehand into space. Defender misses it, and that's a clean hold. Le Chasseur with the score for Canada.
Le Chasseur, beautiful catch here. Good continuating cut into the end zone, recognizing that Zhang gets it in the middle and opening up the field for the play. Le Chasseur out of Quebec. We should look out for layout catches and layout blocks. She didn't have to get horizontal for this one, but a big grab. Her career highlight is to be in Team Canada under 20 at 16 years old. So she is currently a 16-year-old player on this Canadian team.
And there she is, celebrating with some high fives with her teammates. We have less than 4 minutes left of regulation time. Once we hit 100 mark, we're gonna see what the score is and play out that point and then add 1 to the higher score. And that will be the point cap that we're playing to. So we could be having, I'm not gonna predict. I always get it wrong. So we will wait what the next few minutes bring of this game. US setting up in a horizontal stack. Rachel Chang, who's been incredibly reliable, together with Chloe Hakimi in the handler set. Grace Maroon. Through the break side, Brutney for the save. Break chance for Canada. Brutney winds up.
Huge layout block out of Brutney gives Canada a red zone opportunity here.
Alicia Zhang takes the reset to Tiffany Zhang. Zhang really looking for that inside channel. Ernest. Up the line, back to Zhang. Will they try to squeeze it in or will they go around once more? Big shot into the end zone. Poached off lane by the US.
That poached defender.
Friedman gets a good heads up moment there.
Yeah, well done from her side to get that disc back into the possession of the US. Low grab for Friedman as well. Oh, and just slipped out of their hands. A clap catch didn't collect as the disc goes up.
Zhang puts it in the end zone to Zhang. The Zhang double power. They bring back Canada within 2. Break for the Canadians.
What a play there, and they got really lucky on that as it's just an
unforced error out of the US.
Definitely. That will just...
Look at that block from Brudney. That was huge. And so unfortunate that they lost it there. Really having end zone eyes.
Unfortunate, I don't know. I think it was just really good defense. This one, on the other hand, unfortunate. Not connecting there. Already thought about throwing it on, and that's just a quick pop into the middle. Making sure that defense isn't set yet.
Lots of fans gathering around pitch 1 in anticipation of a tight game. Several stands have been set up around the pitch for this specific occasion. We do have some finals in some of the categories coming up later today.
Most of them will be in the European channel.
Almost the same defensive 7 for Canada. Good look from Brudney, trying to get another piece of it in the open lane. Hahn. Looking calm and collected. Put into the end zone. Brudney's underneath, but it is the US who come down with it. 2 open receiver. Another score. Clean hold for the Americans. 14-11 the score in this under-20 women's semifinal. United States 1 point away from making their appearance at the stadium tomorrow.
And just as the time cap goes on, we are at 14-11. That is the current score, and we will have a cap at 15 regardless of the time cap. That'll be a 15 anyway. So we will have, as you mentioned, Rachel, some semifinals and finals today. The next game that we stream here at the WFDF channel will be the semifinal of the men's division. And then later on today we will have the EYUC, so the European Junior Ultimate Championship finals in all 3 divisions, women's, men's and mixed, over on the ulti.tv YouTube channel. And then at the end of the day, So 6 games live from us here today. The end of the day, the under-20 mixed final between Switzerland and Hungary. That will be on the WFDF YouTube channel for you, free to watch, tonight at 7 p.m. European time. Canada off to the races with a big flick put into Ernest, and she collects it. What a beautiful grab out of her. She's done that all game and won't stop now.
Zhang in the middle, continues to the other Zhang. Poach in the open side, doesn't prevent Canada from scoring. They go over the top and finally looking a little more courageous with their shots. They connect on that last one. They stay alive and go up 12 to United States 14.
Spicy shots all over for the Canadians, but that works, and that's what we want to see. Canada feeling ecstatic now, trying to go on a 3-0 run to get that game.
What a game, Christina. This is so tight. The Canadians working incredibly hard despite having to enter the same 7 people, almost the same 7 people on the line. But this has been the toughest matchup for the US so far. In the group stages, they have gone 15-2 over Germany, 15-2 over Italy, and 15-5 over New Zealand. In the power pools, the games got a little bit closer, but not too much. They won 15-9 over France, 15-8 over the Czechs, and 15-2 over New Zealand.
And we will leave you with some quick ads now and be back with you in a second.
He's in a great spot. He's in a perfect spot. Yes, his massive head has blocked everything. That was a huge play, but we have seen none of it. Finney, he's done it.
Entering the first potential game point in the under-20 women's semi-final. Rachel Toshnerova and Christina Obermeier have been with you here all game long, witnessing this wonderful US-Canada matchup. US with a chance to take this game home and secure their spot in the final. Canada coming out of a timeout will be looking for the big upset, trying to stay alive. That one too far for Chloe Hakimi. First chance for Canada. Injury called.
Chang slipped earlier, or actually she had a huge layout, the attempt, but having to leave the field.
Tiffany Zhang being exchanged for Brooklyn Cheer on the American side. Hakimi will be replaced as well. Brudney in the middle. She was the one who got Canada one of the break chances in the previous points. She's looking for John. But Ernest. For Canada, Alicia Zhang keeps it in, keeps it alive. Brooklyn Cheer now. Continues to Jan. Jan knocking on the doorstep. Brudney pops it in, but that one too low. Would have loved to see them go somewhere over the top, put up something funky just to startle this American offense.
Yeah, that option not great as she tries to squeeze it in with too many people around her.
Galfand. Magnant attacking the disc once more. Friedman up the line, wobbled.
Too much arc on that backhand. That wasn't really necessary. And Brudney with the disc in her hand now.
Ernest looks for the continuation. Zhang clears the reset space. Brudney losing yards. I think that might be the only thing Ernest struggles with, the step around. Here's a big break side throw. Zhang in front of the end zone. Brudney takes the reset one more time. Big putt collected, Jan. About 2 meters out the end zone, Brudney. Good defense. No, that is a pick call that will be called back. So great effort by the US to keep the Canadians out of the end zone.
But very patient work from the Canadians on the other side. They're knocking on the doorsteps, and Brudney has a disc in her hands.
After all, it's the under-20 World Juniors final that are at stake. Brudney with a little shimmy. Game stops once more.
In a violation.
Brudney examining her options, and she goes over the top. Loved that look, but I don't think Alicia Zhang was expecting that one. Goes over her head once more. Third chance to score for the US.
Quick hammer over the top. I would have loved a more floaty option that would give the receiver time to run under it, but this is giving the disc back to the US, who are punching it in now, trying to punch it in now.
US in a bit of a coffin corner there, but finally they do get the reset off Godou. Goes up line to Hakimi. Great to see her back on the field. Magnant finds Gelfand. Gelfand for the continuation. That's a bit far out.
Yeah, we've seen, as I mentioned before, those flicks into the wind often being a bit too bladey during this whole week.
Marshall picks up, goes to Brudney. Brudney through the break side. What a put to Jan. Cheer now in the middle of the pitch, fakes big. Jan takes the reset to Brudney. No deep options from the Canadians, which I think is a little sad, as the Canadians are going downwind.
On the other hand, at the business end of this point and this whole game, you don't want to risk it on a deep shot. We typically see that the shorter options are taken more frequently at this point.
Brudney has the disc again. This time, Marshall expects that break side overhead throw. I think personally it's a great option.
I know you love that one.
Brudney with the reset. The break side now full of Canadian players. Alicia Zhang continues to Jan. Get the swing off to Marshall, but no continuation. Still force middle. Brudney into the end zone. One more pick. I believe that was called before the throw.
It was, but on the other hand, she could have caught that. Should have caught that maybe, as it didn't affect the play.
So the disc ends up with the American O-line one more time. It is not their strongest O-line, but it is still doing a great job getting the disc back off of the Americans. Lefty backhand, tries to hit the end of the end zone. Will it be called out?
It was really close, and
I don't think the defender was able to get a great look on that. We will have a replay.
Magnant calling herself inbounds. Big backhand rip, we see that here.
It just about stayed in. Yeah, it looks like she jumped out, and we immediately see the Canadian sideline signaling the out call.
And the US coaches as well signaling that the disc was landed out of pass. Great toe drag though, as she is in the air, can't see where any of the lines are.
So one more chance for Canada. Brudney makes space for Ernest, who has to toe her to the line herself.
There we see another replay here. Ernest with the disc here, and oh, I think that is in. That is inbounds. That disc kept alive by her.
Of course, we need to keep our opinions to ourselves as well.
Yeah,
Players have a chance.
This is a crazy play. I can't even believe it.
The screen next to our commentary booth finally being put to good use. In the meantime, interception by the US. Gelfand waits patiently for the upline, and that's a score for the US. They win the under-20 women's semifinal. They make their way to the final. That's happening tomorrow. They go up 15-12 over Canada. What a game. Heroic effort in this last point by both teams. Two incredible toe drags. But Sky's D's layouts, it had everything it needed to make this a great semifinal for both of these teams. Christina, sum up the game for us.
I don't know if I can. You did that so perfectly. There was breaks, there was holds, long points, short, perfect offenses. It had everything, and I think the Canadians really pushed the US. On the other hand, the US have shown that they are a force to be reckoned with all day. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching this amazing game with us. I hope you will be there for the rest of the day as well.
So with the finalists in the under-20 women's division, we are set. We will have the US taking on France, who have just won their semis 15-6 decisive victory against the Italians. But who is it going to be in the under-20 men's division? We're yet to find out. Please stay tuned. Thanks for following our streaming at the WFDF channel. If you like free ultimate coverage, please make sure to hit the subscribe button here, as well as the ulti.tv YouTube channel. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok even, if you're into that. So give us a follow, share our content, use our clips, just tag us as a collaborator to help spread the love for the beauties of our sport. My name was Rachel Doshnerova, and I was joined by the lovely Christina Obermeier. For now, we're checking out, but coming back soon with more action.
Right now, he's gonna have to bid. Just a football.
Huge layout block. Unbelievable stuff on the front corner of the end zone.
Maybe just that boost of energy they needed.
Huge swing pass and a great grab there from Steer.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with Ulti TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
WJUC.TV.
sûr. Un sûr. Yeah. Yeah. Take your time.